We have a weird homicide.
5 persons, including actress Sharon Tate, were found dead at the home of Miss Tate and her husband, screen director Roman Polanski. Miss Tate, who starred in Valley of the Dolls, was 8 months pregnant.
Poland's government is seeking to overturn a court decision blocking U.S. requests to extradite film director Roman Polanski for his 1970 sex crime conviction.
Perhaps no one among filmmakers haven't lived such an interesting film life like Roman Polanski did. Growing up in a cracker's ghettos, being helpless for the fact that the loved one were murdered, and finally a court case which were induced since 30 years ago. These situations and the great, well-directed movies like Chinatown.
She's my daughter.
I said I want the truth.
Or The Pianist has made Roman Polanski who he is now.
In your heart, in your soul.
Heart or soul?
Either. Both. Are you French, Polish, something else?
In my soul, I'm French. In my heart, I'm Polish, I think.
Why is that?
Because heart somehow is connected with sentiment more than the soul, I would say.
Roman Polanski was born in Paris, ahead of Europe, in 18 August 1933. However, after a few years later, in 1937, his parents decided to move back to Poland. Unfortunately, they didn't expect it that in a couple of years, Poland will no longer exist.
The Polish army was now in full retreat, its government fleeing abroad. Warsaw, however, fought on. Its defenders rejected a German offer to surrender, so the full fury of the German war machine was turned on it.
Roman, his sister and mother were hiding in the basement of their house. But after a few days later, they realized that they have to find a food outside their own shelter. One of the Polish-French director's memory about this situation was the time when he and his family found a can of cucumbers. Roman pictured this later in the movie which he is most attached to, The Pianist from 2002. It wasn't an easy time for Roman. His parents, like any other civils, were taken to the concentration camp.
I ran away from the ghetto. I lived first with some friends of my father's, then with their friends, and with the friends of their friends, and finally I ended up in the country. And most of the wartime I spent living in the country, in a very primitive, backward village with very, very nice, primitive peasants.
Lack of Jewish appearance, as he said, only helped him to mislead Nazi soldiers. Roman did it. He survived a war. And after that, he met again with his father. Unfortunately, there was also a bad news which war brought. He learned that his mother, who was pregnant, died in the first train to Auschwitz, one of the most known concentrate camp in Poland. It was really tough for Roman to accept that. As a child, He always had a hope that someday his mom will appear on his doorstep, and he will see her again. But that never happened.
When I ran away from the ghetto, and I would go to the cinema a lot. It was marvelous. You know, it was all German films, lousy of course. It was very unpatriotic to go to see the movies. The slogan was "Wszystkie świnie siedzą w kinie," which means only pigs go to the movies.
What was the idea of that? I mean, and it was collaborating with the Germans to go and watch their movies.
To watch their movies was unpatriotic. But a lot of people went, and I was one of the pigs who went to see the movies.
Roman was always a fan of cinema, even during the war. He went to watch propaganda movies made by Nazis. As he said, he always was interested in the fact how these movies were made. Going to the cinemas with parents before war and watching films during war made Roman Polanski feel that this is what he wanted to do in a future life. The beginning was difficult. Roman had no experience and no talent to act. However, his self-confidence helped him to perform. On the stage, during a play with theatric groups, Andrzej Wajda, a Polish director, saw Roman's acting, and he decided to cast him in his newest movie named Pokolenie. He also encouraged Roman to try get into Polish acting school. And who knows, maybe we would have seen Roman Polanski in productions like Game of Thrones. But the fact was that no school wanted him. Reason was simple. He was too small, too thin to be a good actor. At least that's what they said. Roman nearly lost every hope, but his acquaintance with Antoni Bogdziewicz made him a student of the National Film School in Łódź. At university, Polanski was doing a short movies, straight connected to his past. However, his first real production, which brought him a huge publicity, was a movie named Knife in the Water from 1962.
Nie wiem, czy Państwo lubicie. Mam rzodkie.
Świetnie. Popatrz, co tydzień jeździmy i nie wpadliśmy na ten pomysł.
Zawsze mówię więcej jarzyn, witaminy.
Proszę.
Dziękuję, mam. Po co pan nosi taki kinżał?
Bo taki nóż jest w życiu potrzebny. Zwłaszcza w lesie.
A year later after release, something unexpected for anyone in Poland happened. In 1933, Knife in the Water hit the cover of the magazine Time. Before that, movie won an award at the film festival in Venice. Polish people saw how huge publicity this movie brought Polanski, and they decided to nominate it for the Oscars. Roman didn't want it back then, but it definitely opened him a gate to the fame and publicity of a movie star.